Quick round of Beat the Waiver Wire. Next week, 4 teams are on bye. The quarterback talent is not great on bye. It is Tom Brady, though, plus Detroit, Seattle, and Washington are on bye next week. So 2 quarterbacks. If anyone drops Derek Carr, I should have mentioned this on Wednesday's show with the buy lows and the sell highs. Derek Carr's schedule is incredible going forward. 6 of his next 7 games are good matchups. Teams that rank 21st or lower against quarterbacks. I think 5 of his next 7 are teams that are 25th or worse against quarterbacks. So Derek Carr, he's widely owned, but like last week, you may have been able to get Matt Ryan, or 2 weeks ago when he was on a bye. Maybe you can get Derek Carr on his bye. And he's at the Giants next week. Meanwhile, if you can't do that, if you have Tom Brady, now's a good time to put Tua Tagovailoa on your team. 59% rostered. He will face the Houston Texans next week. Trey Lance, maybe he becomes a starter. He's rushing for 45 yards per half, basically, in the 3 halves that he has played. And he's got Arizona. I don't know how much you're going to trust him, but if you're desperate, Trey Lance could become a starter soon. Just speculation on my part. DSTs to look at. You got
one more quarterback, Tyrod.
Oh, yeah, against Miami. Not a bad one. And David Johnson against Miami. And David Johnson, we'll see what happens. If he comes out, gets 16 touches this week, you're going to wish you picked him up.
And same thing with Lindsey. If you have an open roster spot.
Would you rather spend the roster spot on Lindsey, Marlon Mack, or Deshaun Watson?
Lindsey, Mack, Watson in that order.
Okay.
What's your ranking, Peter Griffin?
I'm not Peter Griffin. I would probably, if I'm truly holding a spot for just a week, Watson's going to be at the top of the list. Because if he gets traded and ends up playing, that's a guy who could be a difference maker for my fantasy team. I'd probably put Mac next for the same reason, but he wouldn't be as big of a difference maker for my fantasy team, but I think he'd be better than Philip Lindsay.
So you would take Mac going to most likely a backup role as opposed to Philip Lindsay maybe being the starter?
I'm going to wait and see what happens to it. Philip Lindsay might not be the starter. And even when Mark Ingram was the starter in Houston, he wasn't doing very well. Most of
totally agree. But so now you're going
like,
from
what am I picking up Philip Lindsay for is the question.
Well, you're going from 3 guys to 2 in that offense. So at least you're getting rid of one of the guys for whatever touches they were giving Lindsay. And for the 1 week situation, as you know, I'll say all the time, if a guy helps you win a week, he's worth it. Lindsay against Miami is probably better than wherever Marlon Mack ends up in a backup role.
No.
I don't know. Houston's rough.
Not a very inspiring conversation, but yeah, these are decisions people have to make. Yeah.
Let's talk about Jordan Howard some more.
Jordan
behind everybody.
Jordan Howard's not the guy to get, but he's the guy that screws everything up necessarily. Because I think that you could argue that Gainwell and Boston Scott.
I was kidding. We don't have to talk about Jordan Howard some more.
Okay.
I heard it's going to be a big day at Giants practice.
We're still beating the waiver wire here. Dolphins, Colts DST against the Jets on Thursday. They're 79% rostered. Dolphins DST against Houston. Raiders DST, good pass rush at the New York Giants in week 8. All right, take a look for some of those players, but certainly if you're
you should look at the Ravens running backs if they were dropped, Freeman or Murray.
Yeah, pick one there. Who would you rather have?
Still Freeman, but it's a matter of A, how healthy is Latavius Murray, and B, did Freeman do enough over the last 3 weeks, I guess, to earn a bigger role? Obviously, Le'Veon Bell's not working out. He's looks old and slow, as you would probably expect. Maybe it's Tyson Williams if you want to hope that he's done something. But this would be a great place for Marlon Mack to end up. If Mack ended up going to Baltimore, I'd love it. So if you're hoping for a trade there, that's the spot. But it's if they stay as they are, if you have a roster spot, I'd go Freeman 1, Murray 2, Tyson 3.
It is time to say this, though. It's official. The Ravens have a terrible running game. Obviously, other than Lamar Jackson. They're a
terrible running back group.
Terrible running game. They don't run the ball well. I mean, they stink. They ran the ball well against the worst run defense in football and the Chargers, and that's basically it.
They have old running backs and a beat-up offensive line.
Tyson was good against the Chiefs or something like that early. Okay.
There's other guys that you should be picking up, though, Adam, running back-wise, just in case. You want to get ahead of any injuries. Sony Michel, still available.
Especially if you've got Henderson.
Yep. Samaje Perine, you should have him on a roster. Yep. He could be good this week too. Brandon Bolden's still out there. He's only rostered in 28% of leagues. If he's the passing downs guy for another week, you want that on your team. Boston Scott's still widely available. if he comes out of the game as the best running back for Philadelphia for how long Miles Sanders is out, that's what you want on your team too.
Michael Gallup is 45% rostered. T.Y. Hilton's about 49% rostered. Alexander Madison, 78% rostered. Take a look for him in shallow leagues. And not to sound, I hate to keep doing this, but honestly, you've got Kenny Golladay, Kadarius Toney. They're around 60% rostered. I really feel like they need to be rostered in more leagues than that.
And if you have an open roster spot as well, people are dropping Dawson Knox if you want to wait it out to see what happens when he comes back.